What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, and I'm back at y'all with another one. So we got a bit of unfortunate news as is being reported that former undisputed and still unified light heavyweight world champion, Russian superstar boxer, top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world, Dmitry Bivol, who is 23 wins, I believe 1 loss, no draw, 13 wins by way of knockout. They're stating that Dmitry Bivol is pricing himself out of a showdown with now 3 division world champion, top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world, and unified cruiserweight, 2-time WBC super middleweight, and WBC light heavyweight world champion, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster, David Benavidez. So they are in negotiations, as we all know. I reported this a few times now. They are already begun negotiations, although David Benavidez had to fight with Zurdo, which he accomplished his mission this past Saturday, stopping Zurdo, dominating Zurdo, and stopping him in the 6th round. Now, Dmitry Bivol has a fight with Michael Eifert. It's a comeback fight. That's May 30th. As Dmitry Bivol, he had a back injury after he defeated in the rematch Artur Beterbiev, or Beterbiev, however you so choose to pronounce his name, in the rematch. He lost the first fight. He won the second fight, right? They were supposed to have a trilogy, but Bivol suffered a back injury. The WBC stripped him 48 hours after winning the belt, gave it to David Benavidez, and then the WBA made David Benavidez this odd, right? The interim champion. And the WBA is saying they're going to mandate Bivol to fight David Benavidez, or he going to get stripped of his belt. They're saying that Dmitry Bivol, the reports is, what I'm being told is Bivol is asking for an immense amount of money for this showdown with David Benavidez, and they're unwilling to meet his demands. But the World Boxing Association, better known as WBA, is talking about they're going to strip him if he don't fight his mandatory in David Benavidez. How could David Benavidez be his mandatory if David Benavidez is the WBC champion? When they started doing that? When champions can be allowed to be mandatories? This is the problem with the sport of boxing. This is why Dana White and Zuffa and His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh is needed in the sport of boxing as long as they stay on a straight path. This is diabolical. How could he possibly be the mandatory? When you're a champion in another sanctioned body, you can't be the mandatory for another title holder. But they make up rules as they go. Politics as usual, like Jay-Z said. The WBO decided that they didn't want their sanctioned body to be associated with Dmitry Bivol for this fight with Michael Eifert due to the unfortunate circumstances between Ukraine and Russia. But when he fight David Benavidez, the WBO belt will be on the line. So he's suddenly not going to be Russian. And let's say they fight in September. Let's say they fight in December, because Benavidez now says he needs an extra 5 months. He's starting his weight cut to get back to 175 now, and he needs 5 months at least to get back to that. So he's definitely not fighting in September. This is already May, so he said next week or the week after he's going to start his weight cut. So you say we're not counting May. You're talking June, July, August, September, October. he won't be ready till November, December, right? So let's say around that time, Dmitry Bivol is suddenly not going to be Russian, and the Ukraine and Russia will have ceased all of their differences, because they haven't up until this point. The sport of boxing is just absolutely diabolical in every sense of the word. It's ridiculous. The sport is ridiculous. It's diabolical. The politics is disgusting. The politics in the sport of boxing are absolutely disgusting. It's disgusting. All the way around. Now, I don't know what Bivol is offered, but since when we start hearing Dmitry Bivol talk about money? Since when has become a major roadblock for Dmitry Bivol? Never heard money being a roadblock for Dmitry Bivol. But now that it involved David Benavidez and the threat that Benavidez represents, that bag got to be right. Boxing, diabolical. It's diabolical, people. But let me know what y'all think, man. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word, man. By the way, the fight itself, I think Dmitry Bivol slows down. When I watched his last fight with Artur Beterbiev, he's still very talented, still very skilled. But David Benavidez's confidence, his momentum, his youth, his hand speed, his size, and his ability to cut the ring off is going to spell these problems for the second half of Bivol. I noticed in both his last fights with Beterbiev, in the second half, Bivol faded. His punch output dropped. His combinations dropped. He just started using a lot of excessive movement, and maybe that's due to the power of Artur Beterbiev. David Benavidez got a lot of power, not as much as Artur. He don't have the one punch knockout power, just brute strength that Artur Beterbiev has, but he does have respectable power, and his speed and his combination punches and his work rate make it extremely difficult to deal with, because it's like Sean Porter press you every second or every minute of every round. They just make you work. David Benavidez does the same. It just put a lot of mental as well as physical pressure on his opponents, and you start to break down. And that's the same thing I think that David Benavidez is going to do to Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Artur Beterbiev is going to be even worse because he's a sitting target. He's not mobile. Now, he do have the X factor. David can't get caught by Beterbiev power. No, sir. Those punches he took from Zordo and Oleksandr Gvozdyk and David Morrell can't take those types of punches from Artur Beterbiev. Even at this advanced, 41? He'll be 41. No, sir. But it looked like he might have to be, he wants either or. The good thing about Dave Benavidez is that he wants the best. He wants to please the fans, build his legacy, and get generational, life-changing family wealth. That's the great thing about David Benavidez. So, like he said, and he stick to his word. He said that he want Bivol number one. But if he can't get Bivol next, he want Artur Beterbiev. But he want Bivol because he want to get them belts so he could comfortably leave the division accomplished, right? He wants to secure that accomplishment and make sure he secures that accomplishment before he leaves the division. And I understand his vision because he has the understanding that if them belts start to bounce all over the place, now you're talking about multiple fights where he could get all those belts in one shot against Dmitry Bivol. But if them belts he start to get stripped, and then he got to fight this guy for the vacant belt, and then still fight Bivol, and then still fight Beterbiev, like that just becomes a long journey that he don't want to travel. he want to get better Biev and Bivol 1-2, right? Get him out the way. Next 2 fights, 175, and then he can, you know, comfortably lead the division and accomplish the goals he set out to accomplish. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out, man. But let me know what y'all think. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. It's your boy Blue signing off. I'm gone. Peace.